Get going.
All right.
Okay, we're good.
All right. So this is from last year, just so everybody on the call knows. We're just kind of jumping in really quick here to help Tony out. Hopefully he's doing okay. So welcome to week 9. I can't believe we're already into week 9. We're hoping that everybody will really finish strong. We just got these few weeks left in this course. So finish strong, 3 weeks left. And this is just a funny because, you know, the next holiday, I guess you could call it, that's coming up is St. Patrick's Day. So here's just a funny joke. And if you can't quite read because it's little print, it says, what do you get when you cross poison ivy with a 4-leaf clover and it's a rash of good luck? Wah, 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 right? Okay, so I'm going to skip over the element presentations for just a second. We'll come back to that. Last year we had a question from one of the weeks is what is your most effective use of technology that you use to engage students? So what I'd love for everybody who's on the call to do is in the chat box, if you would just type in what is your most effective use of technology to engage your students? If you'll just type that in really quick right now so that we can kind of see what people are using for their technology. And Brandon, hopefully you can see the chat and see what people are saying.
Kahoot, Nearpod. So far, those two.
Awesome. Those are both excellent. I love both of those as well. They're highly engaging for sure.
Breakout.
Oh, yeah.
Breakout, Escape, and Breakout EDUs.
Those are excellent as well. Awesome. Okay, thanks you guys for participating. And if you haven't yet, jump in and participate. Okay, this week the reading is on Chapter 8, which is Recognizing Levels of Adherence to Rules and Procedures. And that covers elements 33 through 35. The discussion this week is Teaching and Learning with Technology with English and Foreign Language Instruction. So keep that in mind as you think about the pros and cons and anyway, just teaching and learning with technology with those particular students in mind. You're going to talk about the pros and cons of student writing assessed by computer grading algorithms. And we want you, as always, to have your initial post done by Sunday so that people can go ahead and jump in and respond so that it really creates a discussion. And then your assignment this week is to continue to work on your online portfolio. You've had a peer review, so based on that review, you should be able to make some adjustments and revisions to your portfolio. I had a couple people in my class that were not able to finish their review, so I'm hoping that they will hurry up and get them done early this week. So if your portfolio didn't get a review, hopefully early this week those will get completed. And I'm willing to also review, if somebody didn't get a review, I'm happy to go in and review your portfolio for you so that you've got something you can use to revise. And then also continue to work on your technology integration project. That's due week 11. So you'll want to make sure that you're continuing to work on that, gathering your samples. Don't forget the reflections and all the pieces to that. Make sure you really read carefully what the requirements are for that technology integration project so that you have all the pieces completed when you turn that in on week 11. Okay, anything else or any other questions from anybody before we go into the element presentations? I'm not hearing anybody, so we'll go ahead and switch over. So here's the sad part about not having Tony on our call, unless he's joined on. No? Okay, so Brandon and I don't have any of the element presentation. So if these people are on the call, then we're happy to have them jump in and do their presentation. And if not, we will have to link them in on the Canvas page when we can get either get them from Tony, or if any of you are hearing this, if you'll send them to either Brandon and I, we will make sure they get linked onto the Canvas page so that they can be shared.
Leslie's going to send her link right now, it says.
Awesome. Leslie, thank you so much.
So she and Emily are both on tonight.
Awesome. So good. We can hear from Emily and Leslie. That's fabulous. All right. So I am actually going to stop sharing my screen. And then that way I can get that from my email. Awesome. Okay, so either Emily or Leslie, if you've got it, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, I have it, but I don't remember how to share my screen.
Okay, so across the bottom of your screen, when you kind of move your mouse over it, there should be an arrow pointing up.
Okay.
That should allow you to share your screen.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, is it there?
Yep.
All right. Well, let me know if you can't hear it.
I'm Leslie Schott, and we are presenting on Element 31 this week, which is providing opportunities for students to talk about themselves.
The first section was about student learning profiles. A learning profile could be a survey, an inventory, or an informal discussion. It just helps you as a teacher gather information from your students. A few examples of some of these learning profiles could be having them take a survey, do an inventory, just informal discussions through your classroom, as well as focusing on their personal learning style. The one I decided to focus on was having my students fill out a learning style inventory. And I found an elementary version that worked a little bit better with my classroom. So I had them write yes or no whether or not the item fit their learning style. So there's visual learning style, an auditory learning style, and then the tactile kinesthetic learning style. Each of the students then counted up the amount of yeses they had in each of their groups, and they went onto a Nearpod that I created and filled out a poll that they could mark which one had the most checks. After that, I hid their names from them, but we looked at the graph that told us how many students marked each one and which ones they marked. I did go through and have them tell me if they had marked more than two, what their two categories were, and it was interesting to have that conversation as we went through and looked at what each of them actually meant. And I had a few students that argued a little bit with what category it classified them in because they didn't feel like it fit them perfectly. And so we had a great conversation about what it means and how it might change as you continue in your education. There are several different types of online data collection tools that you can use. The one that I chose to use was Nearpod. The other ones that you might be familiar with are Poll Everywhere using clickers or Plickers. Microsoft Forms is something that I use a lot in my classroom since we have access to Microsoft. If your district doesn't, there's things like SurveyMonkey and a whole bunch of other different ones that you could possibly be using.
The second section is about life connections, where you intentionally plan breaks throughout your day for students to identify and discuss links between the content being studied and their own personal experiences. Students can make connections to content by using non-linguistic representations. These are representations to enhance students' ability to use mental images to represent and elaborate on knowledge. Images can refer not only to mental pictures, but also to smells, tastes, and kinesthetic sensations. Basically, any mode of processing that goes beyond visual imagery. There are many types of non-linguistic expressions, such as graphic organizers, role-playing, drawing, taking pictures, or making three-dimensional models. Students should be able to explain the representations and how it relates to the content. One great tool for connecting student interest to the curriculum is through BrainPop. There's a Make a Movie feature on there. With this feature, you can give students a subject and they can make a movie about it. This feature is easy to navigate and to use. They drag and drop images, animate them, and present them to the teacher or to the class. iMovie and Toontastic are two apps that allow students to make movies to connect to the content. Another great way for students to connect is through Flipgrid. This is a fun and easy way for students to connect to the curriculum. It gives you a chance to hear from every student while promoting digital citizenship of commenting and communicating effectively. Flipgrid provides a way for students to self-reflect and to make connections and compare with other students, which naturally puts them in a state of metacognition. In the stage where we take a lot of selfies, Flipgrid is very attractive to kids and they get really engaged in it. Mentimeter can also be used to generate student interest. You can create a board such as an I like board for you to refer back to, so you can easily tie the curriculum back to student interest throughout the day or throughout the month, and then change the board monthly.
Okay. Stop sharing.
Okay, thank you. Emily and Leslie, that was excellent. Great job. I will make sure that I get that linked in either on the Canvas course or within the slideshow that we put in the Canvas course. Either way, it'll be linked. Great job. Thank you. Okay, do we have anybody else on the call that was one of the presenters?
I don't think we do.
Okay. All right. Well, then hopefully we can get those other presentations linked in so that you can see the other element presentations. Hopefully we can get those from Tony. That would be great. All right. Anything else, Brandon?
I did have some questions come in looking at the final portfolio. What's some of the requirements necessary with that, with the transformation statement, and if that's different than the learning journey presentation, and kind of about those two things specifically. You want to take that, Carol, or you want me to address that?
Yeah, Brandon, why don't you go ahead and address those?
Okay. So the transformation statement is basically a self-reflection of how you have transformed your teaching or your thought process within your teaching throughout this course. So it is about you transforming, even though you may not have used any tools that we have talked about in this class, just the thought process with those. So that's a transformational statement. It's just a statement of how you've transformed with that. The learning journey presentation is you're going to create up to 7 slides in a PowerPoint or on a Google slide deck or something, going over your learning in general, from within the course, from your students, from your colleagues you've shared with, whatever it is that you consider your learning within this course. And then you're going to make from your slide presentation, do an asynchronous video presentation. So you're going to have your slide on your screen, then you will record your voice as you're explaining the slides to us of your learning journey. So they are two separate things. will be part of your portfolio besides your philosophy statement, philosophy video for shorts in there, and at least one artifact with your reflection is also required in your portfolio. But feel free to dump everything, all your artifacts with reflections, put all those, that's just fine. It's a good place to house everything. Did that answer, did I create more questions or answer those questions? Who are those who had any questions with that? So it was kind of confusing on the Canvas page because there were some wordings we had talked about, Carol, and I went and changed those finally. So it should be more clear now what was expected with that. So, but yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. All right. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and unmute and shout them out. Otherwise, I think we are done for tonight. I feel bad we don't have the other presentations, but hopefully Tony's okay.
Well, thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right.